Let us begin with a foundational question posed in one of the great dialogues of Western philosophy. What is knowledge? The inquiry into this question traverses centuries, starting with Plato's dialogue Theaetetus. In this text, Plato grapples with the concept of knowledge, ultimately concluding that knowledge must encompass more than mere true belief. This critical insight invites us to consider the complexities surrounding belief and its relationship with reality. For Plato, true belief is insufficient if it lacks a solid grounding in justification. Thus, a new definition of knowledge emerges. It is justified true belief. Yet, as we dive deeper into our exploration, it is essential to acknowledge the challenges posed to this definition. In contemporary discussions, philosophers like Edmund Gettier have illustrated that there are scenarios where one can possess justified true belief without having what we would typically consider knowledge. These so-called Gettier cases reveal the possibility that our understanding of knowledge is yet incomplete. This leads us to ponder, can we arrive at a final definition of knowledge, or is it, like many things in philosophy, an ever-evolving concept? Further amplifying our understanding, the Routledge History of Philosophy highlights the debates surrounding the basis of knowledge itself. Epistemologists have long asked, what is the source of our knowledge? Many assert that sensory experience serves as a bedrock for our understanding. Think of Aristotle contemplating the world around him. He emphasized empirical observation, positing that knowledge largely stems from our interactions with the physical realm. Yet, if we rely solely on sensory experience, we must grapple with its limitations. Consider the illusion of a mirage. What we perceive may not authentically reflect reality. This tension between perception and knowledge remains a focal point in epistemological discourse. Transitioning from the ancients to modernity, we find ourselves amidst rich discussions regarding the nature of justification. In our quest for knowledge, we encounter questions of whether certain beliefs can stand on their own, justified not by other beliefs but by direct experience. This challenge invites us to reflect on a deeply human experience. Think of the moment you learned to ride a bicycle. That moment of balance, of feeling the rush of the wind against your face, transcends verbal explanation and can only be understood through personal experience. In this light, we recognize the limitations of our language and rational frameworks when it comes to conveying certain truths about the world. Our journey transcends personal anecdotes, diving into the philosophical meditations of Anthony Kenny and others, who articulate the essence of epistemology as the inquiry into what can be known, and, importantly, how we can know it. Here, we arrive at another cornerstone of our exploration, the demarcation between genuine knowledge and mere belief. Kenny's work prompts us to ask, what marks the distinction? Is there a quality, a hallmark, that endorses certain beliefs as knowledge? We often think of knowledge as objective and universal, existing independently of our subjective experiences. But epistemology challenges this notion. The very act of knowing is intertwined with our perspectives, emotions, and contexts. The search for objective truth, while noble, can be complicated by our subjective vantage points. Therefore, it is imperative that we acknowledge this complexity as we navigate the landscapes of epistemology. As we journey further, we find ourselves confronted with questions of epistemic limits. What can we ultimately know? Can we ever truly attain complete knowledge about the universe and our place within it? Such inquiries evoke reflections on the nature of reality itself, an area ripe for philosophical exploration. Should we embrace uncertainty as a fundamental aspect of our quest? In a world saturated with information, can we sift through the noise to find genuine knowledge, or is the quest itself inherently fraught with impasses? In conclusion, the quest for knowledge is not merely an academic exercise, but a deeply human endeavor rooted in our desire for understanding. As we engage with epic thinkers like Plato, Kenny, and those who have shaped the discourse around epistemology, let us remain open to the vastness of what knowledge entails. Each insight propels us forward, challenging our assumptions and forging connections that enrich our understanding. As we ponder the complexities of what we can know, let our journey be one of inquiry, curiosity, and intellectual humility. For within this pursuit lies not just the destination, but the very essence of our shared human experience. Epistemology is a pivotal branch of philosophy that focuses on the theory of knowledge. It delves into the nature, origin, and validity of knowledge while distinguishing between justified beliefs and mere opinions. At its core, epistemology probes fundamental questions that shape our understanding of what knowledge truly is. It invites us to consider what we can know, how we can know it, what differentiates justified beliefs from opinions, and the various sources from which knowledge may arise. To embark on this philosophical journey, we must confront several core questions. Firstly, what can we know? This inquiry invites deep contemplation about the scope of human knowledge, challenging us to think about the limits of our understanding and the boundaries of what can be known. As we ponder this, we are led to the next crucial question: how can we know it? This aspect emphasizes the methods and processes through which we acquire knowledge, shedding light on the diverse sources, such as perception, reasoning, and testimony, that underpin our beliefs. Moreover, we must ask ourselves what makes justified beliefs different from mere opinions. This exploration centers on the criteria for justification, helping us to discern which beliefs may rightfully be considered knowledge and which remain in the realm of personal opinion. In addressing these matters, we also examine the sources of knowledge, contemplating whether it is rooted in sensory experience, rational insight, or a blend of various methods. Historically, epistemology has held a central position in philosophical inquiry since the time of ancient thinkers like Plato. In his dialogue Theaetetus, Plato fundamentally explores the nature of knowledge. He arrives at the crucial insight that knowledge must comprise not only true belief, but also justification. This pivotal moment generated significant philosophical ramifications, shaping not only the landscape of philosophy, but also influencing scientific, religious, and cultural developments throughout human history. As Anthony Kenny aptly observes, epistemology is fundamentally about the inquiry into what can be known and how we come to know it. It serves as a foundational pillar for all fields of inquiry, providing the essential framework through which we evaluate competing claims of knowledge. Through this lens, we realize that epistemology equips us with the tools necessary to differentiate between mere opinions and justified beliefs. In a world increasingly saturated with information, the ability to evaluate knowledge claims critically becomes essential. Among the central concepts explored within epistemology is the notion of justified true belief. This definition of knowledge, popularized by Plato and later refined through discussions by philosophers like Edmund Gettier, illustrates that the relationship between justification, truth, and belief is a complex one. Gettier's cases challenge the sufficiency of the justified true belief model, suggesting that further refinements in our understanding are necessary. Moreover, the role of sensory experience in knowledge acquisition is a topic of considerable debate within epistemology. Our understanding of how sensory perception contributes to our beliefs and knowledge claims is fundamental. As highlighted in contemporary discussions of epistemology, many argue that sensory experience plays a pivotal role in leading us toward knowledge, while also cautioning us about its limitations. Think, for instance, of a mirage, where our senses can deceive us. As we reflect on epistemology, it is crucial to recognize that this discipline extends beyond abstract inquiry. The questions it poses are imbued with practical significance, reinforcing the importance of our inquiries into the nature of knowledge itself. Engaging with epistemology not only fosters a clearer understanding of the world, but also shapes our moral and intellectual lives. In conclusion, the quest for knowledge through epistemology is an ongoing dialogue filled with complexity and depth. As we navigate through its questions and challenges, we embrace not merely an academic pursuit, but a vital exploration of the essence of human experience. By interrogating the nature and limits of knowledge, we empower ourselves to navigate a world that grows ever more intricate. With each step taken in the pursuit of understanding, we affirm the significance of this inquiry, as it shapes our interactions with the world and influences the fabric of enlightenment in our lives. Historical roots of epistemology. To fully appreciate the intricacies of epistemology, we must journey back to its historical roots in ancient Greece, a time when the groundwork for philosophical inquiry was laid by the remarkable figures of Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle. Each of these thinkers contributed significantly to our understanding of knowledge, shaping the discourse in ways that resonate through the ages. Socrates, often considered the father of Western philosophy, lived from 470 to 399 BCE. His approach to knowledge was primarily realized through what is known as the Socratic method, a form of questioning designed to expose contradictions in thinking and uncover deeper truths. This method involved dialogue and debate, where Socrates would engage others in conversation, encouraging them to examine their beliefs critically. By doing so, he revealed the limitations of assumed knowledge and emphasized the importance of self-awareness in the quest for understanding. Socrates believed that recognizing one's own ignorance was the first step toward gaining true knowledge. Building upon Socratic foundations, Plato, who lived from 428 to 348 BCE, advanced philosophical thought with his theory of forms. In his dialogues, particularly in Theaetetus, Plato argued that true knowledge transcends the physical world of appearances. He posited the existence of eternal, perfect forms or ideals that represent the essence of all things. For Plato, knowledge comes from understanding these forms, which cannot be perceived with the senses but can be comprehended through reason and intellect. This insight set a stage for many subsequent philosophical inquiries, proposing a dualistic view where the physical and metaphysical realms coexist, yet differ fundamentally in their nature. Aristotle, a student of Plato, diverged from his teacher's metaphysical emphasis to forge his own path in epistemology. Living from 384 to 322 BCE, Aristotle pioneered the methodology of empirical observation and logical categorization as pivotal ways of understanding the natural world. He challenged the notion that knowledge could be derived solely from abstract reasoning or innate ideas. Instead, he proposed that knowledge is rooted in direct experience, highlighting the significance of observation and the systematic study of nature. In his work Posterior Analytics, Aristotle addressed the processes of learning and knowledge acquisition, emphasizing the role of sensory experiences in framing our understanding. The interplay of Socratic questioning, Platonic idealism, and Aristotelian empiricism forged a dynamic tension between rationalism and empiricism, an intellectual struggle that continues to pervade epistemological discourse to this day. The ancient Greeks created a fertile environment for epistemological inquiry, and their contributions laid the groundwork for countless philosophical discussions in later centuries. Through Socrates' pursuit of dialectical truth, Plato's exploration of the realm of forms, and Aristotle's commitment to empirical observation, the foundations of epistemology emerged as a compelling field of philosophical exploration. As we reflect on the historical significance of these ancient thinkers, we recognize that their influences extend far beyond their own time. The debates they initiated around the nature of knowledge, belief, and understanding continue to reverberate through contemporary philosophy and scientific inquiry. In contemplating their legacies, we gain valuable insights into the nature of knowledge, inviting us to continue the exploration they so passionately initiated. In conclusion, the historical roots of epistemology in ancient Greece reveal not only the evolution of philosophical thought, but also the enduring questions that shape our understanding of knowledge today. The quest for knowledge, marked by Socratic inquiry, Platonic ideals, and Aristotelian observation, serves as an inspiring precursor to our ongoing pursuit of truth and understanding. As we endeavor to navigate the complexities of knowledge, we honor the contributions of these foundational figures and remain steadfast in our commitment to philosophical inquiry. Rationalism, the power of reason. In the landscape of epistemology, rationalism stands as a powerful and transformative approach, particularly emphasized during the 17th century. This philosophical movement garnered attention through the works of prominent figures such as René Descartes, Baruch Spinoza, and Gottfried Leibniz. Each of these philosophers championed the idea that reason is not merely a tool for understanding the world. Rather, it is the very foundation upon which true knowledge is built. At the heart of rationalism lies the concept of pure knowledge, which can be discovered through reason alone. Rationalists contend that there are fundamental truths that do not depend on sensory experience. One prominent example is mathematics, where the properties of geometric shapes can be understood and proven through logical deduction, independent of any physical manifestations in the world. This assertion challenges the empirical approach that emphasizes observation as the primary source of knowledge, creating a philosophical tension that continues to shape epistemological debates. Another crucial aspect of rationalism is the notion of innate ideas. Rationalists argue that certain concepts are pre-existing in the mind from birth, waiting to be uncovered through the exercise of reason. Descartes, a central figure in this movement, famously articulated the phrase cogito ergo sum, meaning I think therefore I am. This declaration asserts that the act of thinking itself provides an undeniable proof of existence, establishing a certainty that is immune to doubt and serves as a foundational element for further knowledge. Descartes further developed his ideas through what he termed the method of doubt. This systematic skepticism involved questioning everything that could be doubted, ultimately leading him to identify indubitable truths as the starting points of knowledge. By employing this method, Descartes aimed to construct a firm foundation for the sciences, building knowledge upon self-evident principles derived from innate ideas. Baruch Spinoza and Gottfried Leibniz, both of whom were influenced by Descartes, contributed significantly to the rationalist discourse. Spinoza accepted the soundness of Descartes' ontological argument, which posits that the existence of God is self-evident. This acceptance marked a deepening of the rationalist perspective, as it intertwined the ideas of God, existence, and truth. Leibniz similarly embraced Descartes' arguments, emphasizing the role of reason in establishing the certainties of existence and essence. The core principles of rationalism highlight this reliance on reason and systematic logical deduction. The belief that truth can be discovered without recourse to sensory experience redefines the relationship between knowledge and reality. Rationalism posits that through structured reasoning, one can arrive at universal truths that transcend the uncertainties of the sensory world. This perspective presents the mind not merely as a passive receiver of information, but as an active participant in the discovery of truth. As we delve deeper into the intellectual heritage of rationalism, it is important to recognize its enduring impact on contemporary thought. The emphasis on reason as a primary source of knowledge continues to influence various fields, from mathematics and the sciences to ethics and politics. Rationalism invites us to reflect on the power of our intellectual capabilities and the potential for knowledge that lies within our reasoned understanding. In summary, rationalism is a significant epistemological framework that asserts the primacy of reason in the pursuit of knowledge. With its emphasis on innate ideas, logical deduction, and pure knowledge, this approach champions the human capacity to discern truth through reason alone. The works of thinkers like Descartes, Spinoza, and Leibniz not only shaped the course of philosophy in their time, but also laid the groundwork for future explorations of knowledge and understanding. Through their efforts, we continue to grapple with the essential questions of what it means to know and how we can attain genuine awareness of the world around us. Rationalism remains a vital part of this ongoing dialogue, reminding us of the profound capabilities of human reason in the quest for truth. In stark contrast to the rationalist view that champions reason as the primary source of knowledge, empiricism emerges as a robust philosophical approach that asserts knowledge is predominantly derived from sensory experience. This worldview gained prominence through the works of influential philosophers such as John Locke, David Hume, and George Berkeley, each of whom contributed essential ideas that shaped empirical thought. John Locke, in particular, articulated the notion that the human mind begins as a tabula rasa, or blank slate. According to Locke, all knowledge is constructed from sensations and reflections on those sensations. Therefore, sensory input becomes the raw data that enters our consciousness, providing the basis for knowledge formation. As we interact with the world, our senses gather information that is organized into coherent experiences. This progression from raw sensory data to structured understanding underscores the importance of experience in the process of knowledge acquisition. Locke's empiricist framework emphasizes that both simple and complex ideas stem from these foundational sensations. This understanding positions experience as the bedrock of knowledge, underscoring that everything we comprehend arises from direct encounters with the world around us. In this view, knowledge is not innate but developed through ongoing interaction with our environment. Further expanding on empiricism, the philosophers David Hume and George Berkeley placed substantial emphasis on observation and experimentation. Hume famously scrutinized human understanding and made significant contributions to the skepticism surrounding causation and induction. He argued that our knowledge of the world is shaped by repeated experiences rather than rational deduction. For Hume, claims about the world must be testable and verifiable through empirical evidence. He posited that, through systematic observation, we can gain insights into how cause and effect operate within our experiences. Berkeley, on the other hand, took a unique stance within the empiricist tradition. He famously declared that to be is to be perceived, insisting that reality is fundamentally shaped by perceptions. In his view, material objects exist only as they are perceived by observers, challenging the notion of an independent external world. His radical empiricism further influenced discussions around perception and reality, arguing that our understanding of existence is inherently tied to our sensory experiences. The core principles of empiricism highlight the significance of sensory input, experience formation, observation and testing, and knowledge development. Sensory input serves as the first point of contact with reality, where raw data enters through our senses. These sensations are then transformed into coherent experiences, allowing us to form a structured understanding of the world. Ultimately, knowledge is developed from the accumulation of experiences over time. This approach provided the philosophical underpinnings for modern scientific methodology, shaping the very processes by which we gather knowledge today. Empiricism demands that claims about the world are grounded in evidence, scrutinized through observation, and subjected to rigorous testing. In addition to Locke, Hume, and Berkeley, other philosophers within the empiricist tradition, like John Stuart Mill, reinforced the view that all knowledge of truths derives from experience. They emphasize the importance of a systematic examination of empirical evidence as a means of advancing understanding. In conclusion, empiricism presents a compelling epistemological framework that celebrates the role of sensory experience in the acquisition of knowledge. Through the lens of figures like Locke, Hume, and Berkeley, we see an emphasis on observation, experimentation, and the construction of understanding based on lived experience. This empirical tradition not only shaped philosophical discourse but also laid the foundational principles that govern contemporary scientific inquiry, highlighting the inherent value of experience as a source of knowledge. As we continue to explore the vast terrains of what it means to know, the insights derived from empiricism remain vital in our quest to understand the world around us. Kant's transcendental epistemology. Immanuel Kant fundamentally revolutionized the field of epistemology by proposing a synthesis of rationalist and empiricist elements in his seminal work, Critique of Pure Reason, published in 1781. Kant sought to bridge the gap between the two dominant epistemological traditions of his time, asserting that while sensory experience is essential for knowledge, our understanding of that experience is shaped by innate structures within the mind. At the heart of Kant's epistemology lie several rationalist principles. He posited the existence of a priori knowledge, which refers to knowledge that is independent of experience and comes prior to it. Kant argued that the human understanding is equipped with innate categories that allow us to process and structure sensory input. Concepts such as substance and causality are not derived from sensory experiences, but are rather inherent frameworks that enable us to make sense of those experiences. In this way, reason serves to provide the necessary organizing principles through which we interpret the world. Central to Kant's philosophy is his distinction between phenomena and noumena. Phenomena are the things as they appear to us, shaped by our sensory perceptions and cognitive categories, while noumena are the things as they exist in themselves, independent of our perception. Kant asserted that our knowledge is limited to phenomena. We can never directly access noumena. This idea profoundly illustrates his transcendental idealism, which holds that we can only know objects as they are experienced through the lenses of our own cognitive structures. While Kant incorporated rationalist elements, he also emphasized critical empiricist components. For him, experience is not only necessary for knowledge, but is the source from which knowledge is derived. Sensory input is indispensable, as it provides the raw data that the mind organizes and interprets. Knowledge, in Kant's view, is consequently limited to appearances, what we can observe and experience, making it contingent on our sensory engagement with the world around us. Kant's synthesis of rationalism and empiricism led him to conclude that knowledge is developed through what he termed synthetic a priori judgments. These judgments, according to Kant, synthesize experience with the innate categories of understanding, allowing us to attain knowledge about objects of possible experience. This conceptual framework resolves some of the tensions found in earlier philosophical traditions by establishing that both reason and sensory experience play crucial roles in the formation of knowledge. In essence, Kant's epistemology challenges us to rethink the relationship between the mind and reality, one where our perceptions and experiences are always filtered through our cognitive structures. This dynamic interaction between the empirical and the rational invites us to acknowledge both the limits of our knowledge and the capabilities of our understanding. Additionally, it raises new philosophical questions about the extent to which we can claim to know anything beyond our own perceptions. In conclusion, Kant's transcendental epistemology marks a significant turning point in the history of philosophical thought. By synthesizing the insights of rationalism and empiricism, Kant provides a more comprehensive framework for understanding knowledge. His exploration of concepts such as a priori knowledge, the categories of understanding, and the distinction between phenomena and noumena invites us to engage with the world in a nuanced manner, ultimately enriching our pursuit of knowledge and understanding. Through his work, Kant lays a foundational perspective that resonates through ongoing philosophical inquiries, inviting us to consider the complexities of perception, experience, and cognition in our quest for truth. Skepticism. Challenging knowledge claims. Skepticism occupies a critical position in the landscape of epistemology, serving as a counterpoint that questions the very foundation of our knowledge claims. Historically rooted in ancient Greek philosophy, skepticism invites us to examine the uncertainties of what we profess to know, urging intellectual humility and a thorough interrogation of our beliefs. From the Pyrrhonian skeptics of antiquity to modern thinkers like David Hume, skeptics have underscored the fragility of knowledge and the limitations inherent to human understanding. One of the earliest forms of skepticism is Pyrrhonian skepticism, which suspends judgment on all knowledge claims. Originating from the work of thinkers like Sextus Empiricus, Pyrrhonism holds that since there are opposing arguments to every claim, we ought not to assert any belief as certain. This radical suspension of judgment emphasizes the idea that human beings often face insurmountable uncertainties, and therefore, it advocates for a kind of mental tranquility that can arise from withholding belief. Academic skepticism arose from the traditions established by the Pyrrhonists, but articulated a slightly different approach. While academic skeptics acknowledged the impossibility of achieving absolute certainty, they maintained that probable knowledge could still be attainable. This view allows for a more measured approach, suggesting that while we may not know anything with complete certainty, we can still accept claims as likely true based on the evidence available. A significant contribution to the discussion of skepticism came from René Descartes, who introduced Cartesian skepticism. His method of doubt involved systematic questioning of all beliefs and knowledge claims as a way to uncover certain truths. Descartes famously sought to doubt everything that could be doubted, leading him to the conclusion that the one indubitable truth is his own existence as a thinking being, summarized in the phrase cogito ergo sum, I think, therefore I am. This method is emblematic of a broader philosophical trend that respects skepticism as a valuable tool for arriving at certainty. David Hume advanced skepticism even further with his inquiries into causation and induction. Hume questioned our ability to derive knowledge from experience, particularly regarding causal relationships. He pointed out that while we often observe patterns that suggest causation, we cannot directly perceive causal connections. This led him to challenge the very validity of inductive reasoning, which relies on the assumption that the future will resemble the past. Through these skeptical arguments, Hume questioned not only the certainty of our knowledge claims, but also the foundations upon which those claims stand. The implications of Humean skepticism resonate through the fabric of philosophical thought, reminding us of the need to critically assess the basis of our beliefs. If knowledge requires absolute certainty, then the skeptics argue that very little can be securely known. This perspective encourages a cautious approach to claims of knowledge, prompting individuals to continuously evaluate and question their understandings. Skepticism, however, is not merely a challenge to be overcome. It is an essential component of epistemological discussions. It ensures that our pursuit of knowledge is not taken for granted. Thinkers like Fichte and Kant responded to skepticism in ways that highlighted its importance for philosophical development. Kant, in particular, claimed that his critical philosophy was awakened by Hume's skepticism. He sought to reconcile empirical knowledge with rational insights, ultimately formulating a response to the challenges posed by skepticism. In conclusion, skepticism serves as a vital counterbalance in epistemology, reminding us of the complexities and uncertainties inherent in the pursuit of knowledge. From Pyrrhonian and academic skepticism through to Cartesian and Humean skepticism, these traditions prompt us to engage in a critical examination of our beliefs. By maintaining an attitude of intellectual humility, we acknowledge the limitations of our understanding in the face of what we claim to know. As we navigate the complexities of knowledge claims, the lessons of skepticism continue to encourage rigorous scrutiny, fostering a deeper and more meaningful engagement with the world around us. Types of knowledge. In the realm of epistemology, understanding the various types of knowledge is crucial for a comprehensive view of what it means to know something. Not all knowledge is created equal. Epistemologists identify multiple categories, each possessing distinct characteristics and means of acquisition. Traditionally, the focus has often been on propositional knowledge, but contemporary frameworks increasingly recognize the significance of other forms, such as procedural and acquaintance knowledge. Propositional knowledge, often referred to as knowing that, is the kind of knowledge that can be expressed in declarative statements. An example would be knowing that Paris is the capital of France. This type of knowledge requires three essential components: justification, truth, and belief. According to figures like Jean Piaget, propositional knowledge is a logical and conceptual understanding that results when individuals engage with formal operational structures in their cognition. Bertrand Russell also made significant contributions to this understanding by distinguishing between knowledge by acquaintance, direct familiarity with a subject, and knowledge by description, which involves knowing facts or propositions. In contrast to propositional knowledge is procedural knowledge, or knowing how. This type encompasses skills and techniques, such as riding a bicycle or speaking a language. Unlike propositional knowledge, procedural knowledge often cannot be fully articulated or verbalized. It resides in our ability to perform tasks. This aspect of knowledge draws on practice and experience, highlighting a different dimension of expertise that is crucial in various fields, especially in contexts that require hands-on skills. For example, while one can read about the mechanics of riding a bike, the ability to balance and pedal simultaneously is developed through practice rather than mere instruction. Another important type of knowledge is acquaintance knowledge, described as knowing of. This can refer to direct familiarity with places, people, or experiences. Phrases like, "I know London," or "I know the taste of strawberries" illustrate this form of knowledge, which is grounded in personal experience. Acquaintance knowledge highlights the importance of sensory engagement with the world. It emphasizes knowledge gained through doing or experiencing rather than solely through intellectual processes. Here, Russell again distinguishes between knowledge by acquaintance, directly interacting with an object or experience, and knowledge of true propositions, illustrating the breadth of human understanding. These three types of knowledge, propositional, procedural, and acquaintance, often intersect and complement one another. For instance, consider a surgeon. Their knowledge encompasses propositional knowledge about human anatomy and medical protocols, procedural knowledge concerning surgical techniques, and acquaintance knowledge from hands-on experience with specific patient cases. By recognizing these distinctions, we come to a richer understanding of what we mean when we claim to know something, as they reveal the complexities inherent in knowledge acquisition. The distinctions among these types of knowledge are pivotal not just in philosophy, but in various practical domains such as education, science, and the arts. Understanding that knowledge is not monolithic encourages a holistic approach to learning and knowledge assessment. It implies that effective education should address these different forms of knowledge to equip individuals with a more versatile skill set capable of navigating an increasingly complex world. In summary, by exploring the types of knowledge, we gain insights into the multifaceted nature of understanding. Propositional knowledge emphasizes truths that can be articulated. Procedural knowledge highlights the importance of skill, and acquaintance knowledge underscores the value of direct experience. Together, these categories create a more nuanced understanding of knowledge, illuminating its diverse forms and the myriad ways through which we engage with the world. Justified true belief model. For centuries, the classical definition of knowledge has been understood through the framework of justified true belief, JTB. According to this model, a person, S, knows a proposition P if and only if three conditions are met. First, S must believe that P is true. Second, P must actually be true. And third, S must have adequate justification for believing that P. This tripartite structure aims to delineate knowledge from mere belief, providing a robust criterion to distinguish between genuine knowledge and false belief or mere lucky guesses. The belief component acknowledges that knowledge is inherently tied to personal conviction. If someone does not believe something, they cannot be said to know it, regardless of whether it is true. The truth component emphasizes that knowledge must correspond to reality. What we claim to know must indeed exist or be accurate. Finally, the justification component demands that there must be sufficient reasons or evidence supporting that belief, thus moving us beyond gut feelings or unsubstantiated claims. This JTB model served as a cornerstone of epistemology until 1963, when philosopher Edmund Gettier published a groundbreaking paper titled, "Is Justified True Belief Knowledge?" In his work, Gettier presented counterexamples, now famously known as Gettier problems, that challenge the adequacy of this definition of knowledge. In these scenarios, all three conditions of justified true belief are satisfied, yet intuitively, they fail to constitute knowledge. For instance, if a person justifiably believes in a proposition based on a false claim that leads them to a true conclusion, they possess what can be called a justified true belief in the proposition, but, due to the nature of the inference, we hesitate to call it knowledge. Gettier's challenges sparked an extensive philosophical debate regarding the nature of knowledge, prompting numerous responses aimed at refining or redefining what it means to truly know something. Scholars introduced various theories to navigate the issues raised by Gettier. One significant response involves causal theories of knowledge. This approach suggests that there must be a causal connection between a belief and the fact it represents, insisting that knowledge should be tied not just to justified true beliefs, but to the underlying relationship that caused the belief to arise. Another response focuses on reliability conditions, which argue that for a belief to count as knowledge, it must be produced by a reliable method. In this sense, if the process leading to the belief is generally trustworthy and tends to yield true conclusions, that belief may be considered knowledge. Additionally, the concept of defeaters has emerged in these discussions. This notion suggests that certain conditions or pieces of information can undermine our justified beliefs, thereby challenging our claims to knowledge. If new evidence emerges that contradicts a belief, it may function as a defeater to that belief, regardless of the justification previously provided. Despite the clear challenges posed by Gettier cases, the justified true belief model retains its influence in contemporary discussions of knowledge. While it may not represent a complete picture of what knowledge encompasses, it remains a valuable starting point for understanding the epistemological landscape. The ongoing refinement of the JTB framework illustrates the vibrant nature of philosophical inquiry, as scholars continue to grapple with the complexities of knowledge claims and strive toward a more exhaustive understanding of what it means to know something in a world filled with uncertainty. In conclusion, while the justified true belief model offers a foundational definition of knowledge, the challenges presented by Gettier and subsequent philosophical developments highlight the necessity for ongoing exploration in epistemology. As we examine and refine our understanding of knowledge, the interplay of belief, truth, and justification continues to shape our intellectual landscape, inviting us to engage with deeper questions about the nature of knowledge itself. The question of how we justify our knowledge claims is a fundamental concern in the study of epistemology. Various methodologies have emerged to address this question, each providing unique frameworks for understanding the nature of knowledge and justification. Among these methodologies are foundationalism, coherentism, reliabilism, and pragmatism, each of which has its strengths and limitations. Foundationalism posits that knowledge is built upon basic, self-evident beliefs, often referred to as properly basic beliefs. These foundational beliefs do not require further justification and serve as the bedrock upon which other knowledge claims can be constructed. Renowned philosopher René Descartes exemplified foundationalism as he searched for unshakable first principles, eventually leading him to his famous conclusion, cogito ergo sum, I think, therefore I am. Foundationalism aims to avoid the problem of infinite regress in justification, where beliefs would require endless justification by other beliefs, by establishing a secure base that provides a stable structure for knowledge. In contrast, coherentism rejects the notion of foundational beliefs. Instead, it posits that knowledge is justified through the coherence of beliefs within an existing system. This methodology suggests that beliefs gain justification not from an external foundation, but from their mutual support and relationships within a web-like structure of interconnected beliefs. The coherence relation among beliefs is what grants them epistemic validity. Epistemic coherentism, therefore, emphasizes that all justification is inferential and systematic, relying on how beliefs align and support one another rather than on any singular foundational belief. Another important approach is reliabilism, which shifts the focus from traditional justification to the reliability of the processes that form our beliefs. According to reliabilism, a belief is considered knowledge if it is formed by a reliable cognitive process that generally produces true beliefs. This approach does not necessarily require the believer to have awareness or access to justification in the traditional sense. Instead, it emphasizes the role of the cognitive mechanisms themselves. As a result, reliabilism provides a practical perspective on knowledge, prioritizing the effectiveness of belief-forming processes over the concerns of epistemic justification. Pragmatism further challenges conventional approaches by evaluating knowledge claims based on their practical consequences. Pragmatists argue that the truth of a belief is not merely a matter of accurate correspondence to an independent reality, but rather what works effectively in practice. This perspective, articulated by philosophers like William James, emphasizes the utility of beliefs in guiding actions, solving problems, and fulfilling human purposes. Pragmatism thus reframes the assessment of knowledge, focusing on the pragmatic outcomes that beliefs produce in real-world situations. Each of these methodologies addresses different aspects of our knowledge-seeking practices and presents unique strengths and limitations. Foundationalism provides a clear structure for justification, but can struggle with identifying what counts as basic beliefs. Coherentism offers a flexible and holistic view of belief systems but may lack firm grounding for claims. Reliabilism emphasizes the importance of cognitive processes while potentially overlooking the richness of justification. Pragmatism prioritizes practical utility, which can lead to subjective interpretations of truth and knowledge. In contemporary epistemology, many philosophers embrace a hybrid approach, integrating elements from multiple methodologies. This synthesis allows for a more nuanced understanding of knowledge and justification, acknowledging the complexities involved in how we come to know and believe. As we navigate the intricate landscape of epistemological thought, these methodologies provide valuable tools for evaluating our knowledge claims, ultimately enriching our understanding of what it means to know. Social epistemology. In contrast to traditional epistemology, which focus primarily on individual knowers, social epistemology explores how knowledge is generated, validated, and distributed within social contexts. This approach highlights the collaborative nature of knowledge creation and recognizes that much of what we know comes from others through various forms of social interaction, including testimony, education, and communal collaboration. One of the foundational concepts within social epistemology is communal knowledge creation. Knowledge is not merely an individual endeavor, rather, it emerges through social interactions. Philosophers such as Elizabeth Nelson emphasize that the construction and acquisition of knowledge are fundamentally communal processes. This perspective acknowledges that our understanding of the world is shaped by the communities to which we belong and the interactions we engage in with others. It challenges the notion of the solitary knower and underscores the importance of social context in shaping our beliefs. A significant aspect of this communal knowledge is testimonial knowledge, which involves learning from the accounts and experiences of others. Testimonial knowledge underscores how individuals rely on the testimony of experts and peers to build their understanding of various subjects. This reliance on others' accounts raises questions about the authority and credibility of the sources we engage with. For instance, when we accept scientific findings, we often do so based on the trust we place in scientific authorities, peer-reviewed processes, and collective expertise. This dynamic highlights the intricate relationships between knowledge, authority, and social trust, as various theories, including feminist epistemology, explore how power dynamics can shape knowledge construction and validation. Institutional validation plays a critical role in legitimizing knowledge claims. Formal systems, such as academic institutions, research organizations, and peer review processes, authenticate knowledge and establish credibility for certain claims. These institutions provide frameworks through which knowledge is scrutinized, debated, and validated, contributing to the overall process of knowledge dissemination. By recognizing the influence of institutional structures, social epistemologists can analyze how norms and practices in various fields shape what counts as justified knowledge. Furthermore, the distribution of knowledge through social networks and digital platforms has become increasingly vital in contemporary society. The rise of social media and online communication has transformed the ways in which knowledge is disseminated and shared across communities. On the one hand, these platforms provide opportunities for collective knowledge construction, enabling diverse voices to contribute and engage in dialogue. On the other hand, they also introduce challenges related to misinformation, bias, and the credibility of sources. Social epistemology, therefore, engages with the implications of digital communication for knowledge production, addressing how power dynamics, misinformation, and social influence can impact our understanding of truth. In summary, social epistemology broadens our perspective on knowledge by emphasizing the communal, relational, and contextual aspects of understanding. By considering how knowledge is created, validated, and distributed within social frameworks, we gain insights into the complexities of our knowledge claims. This perspective urges us to remain aware of the interactions and power dynamics that influence our beliefs, making social epistemology an essential field in the study of knowledge in the modern world. As we continue to navigate an increasingly interconnected and complex information landscape, the principles of social epistemology will be crucial for fostering informed engagement with the diverse sources and forms of knowledge that shape our lives. Scientific knowledge. Scientific knowledge represents humanity's most systematic approach to understanding the natural world. At its core, science combines empirical observation with theoretical modeling to build an explanatory framework that helps us comprehend various phenomena. This disciplined method of inquiry encompasses several key components: observation, hypothesis formulation, experimentation, and theory development. Observation is the first step in the scientific process, involving the systematic gathering of empirical data. This process is essential for framing the questions we seek to explore. Observations can be basic judgments about the world around us and serve as the foundation upon which scientific inquiry is built. The findings derived from observation provide critical insights and help scientists discern patterns, exceptions, and anomalies in nature. Following observation, scientists propose a hypothesis, a testable explanation for the observations made. A good hypothesis must be specific and falsifiable, meaning it can be subjected to experimentation to confirm or disprove its validity. This predictability is vital, as it allows scientists to make informed guesses about what will happen under certain conditions. Once a hypothesis has been formulated, experimentation follows. This stage involves controlled testing of predictions derived from the hypothesis. Through experimentation, scientists can isolate variables and determine causal relationships. Control groups and experimental groups are often employed to provide clarity and reliability in results. The experimental results yield data that either support or challenge the initial hypothesis. Designing and conducting experiments brings us to the final stage. Theory formation. Theories are comprehensive explanations that arise from the synthesis of experimental data and numerous tested hypotheses over time. Unlike mere conjectures, scientific theories are robust systems of understanding that integrate various findings and provide a coherent framework for interpreting complex phenomena. A well-established theory not only explains current observations but also predicts future events or behaviors. Philosopher Thomas Kuhn significantly advanced the discourse surrounding scientific knowledge in his seminal work, The Structure of Scientific Revolutions, published in 1962. Kuhn introduced the concept of paradigm shifts, radical transformations in scientific understanding that occur when existing frameworks fail to account for new data or observations. Paradigm shifts disrupt established practices and lead to entirely new ways of thinking about scientific issues, reflecting the dynamic nature of scientific inquiry. Amid these discussions, Karl Popper's falsificationism proposed an important criterion for scientific inquiry. Scientific theories cannot be definitively proven true, but can be falsified by evidence that contradicts them. This perspective emphasizes the provisional nature of scientific claims, affirming that knowledge evolves through ongoing scrutiny and testing. Contemporary philosophy of science expands on these foundational ideas by addressing various issues, including themes of underdetermination, the idea that evidence can support multiple theories, the theory-ladenness of observation, which suggests that our understanding of what we see is shaped by existing theories, and the social influences that affect scientific practice. These discussions highlight the complexities of scientific knowledge, acknowledging that it is not solely a linear pursuit of truth, but rather an intricate interplay of empirical data, theoretical frameworks, and social contexts. Despite these epistemological challenges, science remains our most reliable method for understanding the world. It establishes a rigorous approach to knowledge acquisition that adapts to new information and integrates diverse perspectives. Through careful observation, hypothesis testing, controlled experimentation, and the development of theories, scientific knowledge continues to expand, providing invaluable insights that shape our understanding of the universe and our place within it. As we navigate this ever-evolving landscape of scientific inquiry, the lessons drawn from the philosophy of science are paramount in ensuring that our quest for knowledge is grounded in critical thinking and empirical rigor. Knowledge in the digital age. The advent of the digital revolution has fundamentally transformed how we create, access, and validate knowledge. As we navigate this landscape marked by an unprecedented volume of information, it becomes imperative to understand both the opportunities and challenges presented by our current informational environment. One notable feature of the digital age is the staggering daily data creation, which generates exabytes of information across the globe. The explosion of digitally produced data is reshaping our understanding of knowledge itself. What once was a more localized exchange of information is now an interconnected web of global content. As noted by scholars, this era brings with it a degradation of knowledge, whereby information is often reduced to mere bytes on a screen or fleeting digital events. While this abundance can enhance access to information, it also complicates our ability to discern knowledge that is reliable and meaningful from that which is trivial or misleading. The average digital attention span of users has also decreased, influenced by the constant influx of information and multimedia stimulation. With notifications, social media updates, and news cycles demanding immediate engagement, individuals often find themselves processing information rapidly but shallowly. This change has profound implications for how we learn, retain, and evaluate knowledge. In an environment where distraction is a constant threat, the cultivation of critical thinking skills becomes more essential than ever. One significant consequence of this digital landscape is the prevalence of false information. Users frequently encounter misinformation and disinformation, which can be challenging to identify and resist. The rapid spread of false information can occur for various reasons, including viral social media posts, deeply partisan sources, or simple misunderstandings. As a result, it is crucial for individuals to develop new critical skills, such as media literacy, to effectively navigate the complexities of information and discern credible sources from unreliable ones. Moreover, the global internet population continues to grow, leading to a democratization of content creation and knowledge dissemination. Many traditional gatekeepers of knowledge, such as academia or journalism, have seen their influence wane as anyone with access to the internet can create and share content. While this democratization fosters diverse perspectives and voices, it also raises questions about the authority and credibility of knowledge. This challenge is particularly relevant in fields where expert knowledge is vital, such as science and healthcare. Artificial intelligence, AI, further complicates these dynamics. The rise of machine learning and algorithmic decision-making introduces new epistemological questions related to knowledge generation and dissemination. Algorithms curate content for users based on their interests and behaviors, creating filter bubbles that can limit exposure to diverse perspectives. The personalization of information can reinforce existing beliefs, leading to polarized viewpoints and a fragmented understanding of crucial issues. To navigate the complex information landscape of the 21st century, it is essential to foster critical engagement with knowledge. Whether through improved media literacy, active questioning of sources, or the cultivation of diverse informational diets, individuals must develop the capacity to analyze and interpret knowledge effectively. By recognizing the interplay between technology, society, and knowledge, we can better equip ourselves to face the challenges and opportunities that arise in this digital age. In summary, the digital age has transformed our relationship with knowledge, presenting both unprecedented access and significant challenges. By understanding the implications of daily data creation, the decline in attention spans, the prevalence of misinformation, and the impacts of AI, we can better navigate the complex landscape of information. As we adapt to this evolving reality, the pursuit of knowledge requires a conscious effort to develop the critical skills necessary for discerning truth in an increasingly crowded digital world. Cognitive biases. Our pursuit of knowledge is fraught with inherent limitations in human cognition, leading to various cognitive biases that shape how we perceive information, make judgments, and recall memories. These biases, rooted in our mental processes, often skew our understanding of reality, and can significantly influence decision-making even among the most trained individuals. One of the most prevalent biases is confirmation bias, where individuals tend to favor information that supports their pre-existing beliefs while dismissing or discounting evidence that contradicts those beliefs. This selective perception can create an echo chamber effect, where one's worldview is reinforced solely by like-minded information, hindering critical thinking and open discourse. As noted by social psychologists such as Lippmann, this biased reasoning undermines the democratic ideals of epistemic egalitarianism, affecting how knowledge is constructed and shared within society. Another form of cognitive distortion is cognitive misprocessing, which encompasses systematic errors in reasoning and judgment. Research conducted by psychologists Amos Tversky and Daniel Kahneman has highlighted that human judgment often fails to align with rational models of decision-making. These biases affect statistical reasoning. For instance, individuals may place undue emphasis on easily recalled anecdotes rather than considering broader statistical evidence, leading to flawed conclusions about probability and risk. Memory distortion presents another significant challenge. Our memories are not infallible recordings of past events. Rather, they are susceptible to unconscious alterations. Factors such as suggestion, the passage of time, and emotional state can affect how we recall information, resulting in memory distortion. This phenomenon can lead to a false sense of certainty regarding our knowledge and experiences, further complicating our understanding of truth and reality. In addition to these biases, several others impede our ability to acquire knowledge effectively. Anchoring bias occurs when individuals overly rely on the first piece of information they encounter while making decisions, potentially framing all subsequent reasoning. The Dunning-Kruger effect describes a cognitive bias whereby unskilled individuals overestimate their own abilities, leading to poor self-assessment and misguided confidence. Meanwhile, hindsight bias, often encapsulated in the phrase "I knew it all along," reflects our tendency to view past events as having been more predictable than they actually were. This bias distorts our understanding of events and can hinder our ability to learn from both successes and failures. These cognitive shortcomings are not merely occasional errors in judgment, they are systemic patterns that can influence decision-making processes across various contexts: academic, professional, and personal. Even trained scientists and critical thinkers are not immune to the effects of cognitive biases, which underscores the need for awareness and strategies to mitigate their impact. Understanding these cognitive biases is crucial for enhancing our knowledge acquisition. By recognizing the limitations of our cognitive processes, we can begin to counteract their influence. This awareness can lead to the development of critical thinking skills, fostering a more nuanced approach to information evaluation and decision-making. Furthermore, implementing practices such as seeking diverse viewpoints, using structured decision-making frameworks, and fostering environments of open inquiry can help mitigate the effects of cognitive biases. In conclusion, cognitive biases play a significant role in shaping our understanding of knowledge. By identifying and acknowledging these biases, we can take proactive steps to improve our reasoning and judgment. Embracing critical engagement with our cognitive processes not only enhances individual knowledge, but also contributes to more informed decision-making and a deeper understanding of the complex world around us. Alternative ways of knowing. The traditional Western approach to knowledge has effectively prioritized analytical reasoning and empirical observation as the primary means of understanding the world. However, alternative epistemologies, such as indigenous knowledge systems, intuitive understanding, and embodied knowledge, present complementary approaches that enrich our conception of how knowledge can be perceived and validated. Indigenous knowledge systems are rooted in a holistic understanding of natural ecosystems and cultural practices, passed down through generations. These systems integrate spiritual, ecological, and cultural dimensions, offering insights that oftentimes emphasize relationships and contextual understanding rather than abstract principles. Indigenous knowledge is validated through centuries of experience and practical application, making it a valuable source of wisdom, especially in environmental stewardship and resource management. Such knowledge systems demonstrate the importance of local traditions, values, and practices in shaping community identities and understandings of the natural world. Intuitive understanding refers to a form of direct knowing that often bypasses analytical reasoning. This is commonly experienced as gut feelings, or spontaneous insights that arise without the need for conscious thought. Such intuitions can emerge in decision-making processes and creative endeavors, where individuals may sense the right course of action without being able to articulate the rationale behind it. Intuitive understanding reflects the complexities of human cognition, illustrating how not all knowledge is derived solely from logical reasoning or empirical evidence. Another significant form of knowing is embodied knowledge, which resides in bodily experiences and practices. This type of knowledge is evident in areas such as dance, sports, or artisanal crafts, where understanding is gained through movement, touch, and muscle memory. For instance, a dancer might possess an innate understanding of rhythm and posture developed through years of practice, while a craftsperson may have an intuitive feel for materials that cannot be easily described in words. This kind of knowledge emphasizes the significance of physical experience in the learning process, highlighting an often overlooked dimension of what it means to know something. These alternative epistemologies challenge the assumed universality of Western approaches to knowledge by introducing perspectives that consider context, culture, and the embodied experience of knowing. Furthermore, feminist epistemology contributes valuable insights by examining how gender and social positions influence knowledge production. Concepts like standpoint theory highlight that knowledge is shaped by lived experiences and positionality, arguing for the recognition of marginalized voices and perspectives in the broader discourse of knowledge. As we consider these diverse ways of knowing, it becomes evident that our understanding of knowledge is not monolithic, but rather multifaceted and intricate. Each alternative epistemology enriches our comprehension of how humans make sense of the world, offering complementary approaches that can coexist alongside traditional Western methodologies. By recognizing and valuing these various forms of knowledge, we can foster a more inclusive epistemological framework that honors the richness of human experiences and the diverse ways in which we seek understanding. In conclusion, alternative ways of knowing, such as indigenous knowledge systems, intuitive understanding, and embodied knowledge, provide essential perspectives that both challenge and enhance traditional epistemological frameworks. By embracing these diverse approaches, we can cultivate a more comprehensive understanding of knowledge that is responsive to the complexities of our experiential realities and the rich tapestry of human thought. Neuroscience and epistemology. Advances in neuroscience are significantly transforming our understanding of knowledge, particularly at the biological level. Innovations in brain imaging technologies, such as fMRI and PET scans, allow researchers to observe and analyze neural activity during processes like learning and memory formation. This unprecedented access to the inner workings of the brain provides fascinating insights into the physical basis of how knowledge is acquired, organized, and retrieved. One of the central findings in contemporary neuroscience is the concept of neuroplasticity, which refers to the brain's remarkable ability to reorganize itself through experience. Neuroplasticity challenges traditional simplistic models of knowledge that view it as static mental representations housed in discrete locations of the brain. Instead, it reveals that knowledge storage and retrieval occur within complex, distributed neural networks that continuously adapt and change based on experiences. This dynamic perspective reshapes our understanding of learning, suggesting that knowledge is not merely accumulated but actively constructed and reconstructed through ongoing interaction with the environment. Research into memory has uncovered intricate details about how these neural networks operate. Memory storage involves multiple brain regions that work together to encode, consolidate, and retrieve knowledge. This insight highlights the importance of context and variability in how memories are formed and accessed. Such findings invite a re-examination of epistemological theories that may have previously underestimated the biological and contextual factors involved in knowledge acquisition. The integration of neuroscience and epistemology creates an exciting frontier where philosophy and biology inform and enhance one another. This interdisciplinary approach raises important questions about the nature of knowledge itself. What constitutes knowledge from a biological perspective? How do our cognitive processes align with philosophical inquiries about justification, belief, and truth? As neuroscience continues to evolve, it challenges long-standing philosophical assumptions, particularly regarding the distinctions between mind and brain. The implications of neuroscientific findings extend into what could be termed biologically realistic models of cognition, which consider how cognitive processes emerge from the underlying neural substrates. This perspective encourages a more nuanced understanding of the interplay between mental processes and brain function, further blurring the lines between epistemological theories and cognitive science. However, this merging of fields also prompts concerns about reductionism. If knowledge and cognitive processes are entirely reducible to neurophysiological mechanisms, how do we account for the richness of human experience, societal influences, and cultural contexts that shape knowledge? Critics argue that while neuroscience offers valuable insights, it must be integrated with a broader comprehension of human cognition that includes social and environmental factors. In conclusion, the advances in neuroscience are reshaping the landscape of epistemology by providing profound insights into the biological underpinnings of knowledge. Understanding neuroplasticity and the complex neural networks involved in memory formation challenges traditional notions of static knowledge and emphasizes the dynamic, adaptive nature of how we learn. As philosophy and neuroscience continue to interact, they enhance one another's explorations, promoting a deeper and more comprehensive understanding of what it means to know in an increasingly complex and interconnected world. This ongoing dialogue between disciplines not only enriches our comprehension of knowledge but also poses critical questions about the very nature of human cognition and experience. Ethical dimensions of knowledge. Knowledge is inherently intertwined with ethical considerations, and it is never morally neutral. Philosopher Miranda Fricker's concept of epistemic injustice sheds light on how individuals from marginalized groups can suffer as knowers. This injustice manifests in two primary forms: testimonial injustice, where the credibility of a person's testimony is minimized or dismissed due to prejudices against their social identity, and hermeneutical injustice, where individuals lack the conceptual tools to articulate their experiences due to the prevailing societal narratives about their situation. This framework highlights the profound ethical implications of how knowledge is produced, legitimized, and disseminated. The intersection of epistemology and ethics raises numerous critical questions regarding knowledge practices. For instance, who funds research and determines the priorities for inquiry? The interests of funding bodies can significantly influence the knowledge that is produced. When research is driven by profit rather than public good, it may neglect vital issues affecting marginalized populations, perpetuating injustice and inequality. Moreover, the ethical implications surrounding intellectual property systems warrant attention. While these systems are designed to protect the rights of creators and incentivize innovation, they can also restrict access to knowledge and resources, particularly for disadvantaged communities. When knowledge becomes commodified, it raises urgent questions about who benefits from the fruits of intellectual labor and who is systematically excluded from accessing knowledge that could improve their lives. The delicate balance between privacy and the pursuit of knowledge is an area fraught with ethical dilemmas. As data collection becomes increasingly pervasive, researchers and institutions must grapple with the moral implications of compromising individual privacy in the name of knowledge acquisition. Understanding when it is justifiable to breach privacy rights for the sake of research or public health is a pressing concern that necessitates careful ethical consideration. Another important ethical matter pertains to informed consent in research practices. Ensuring that participants are fully informed and able to make autonomous decisions about their involvement is fundamental to ethical research. This process becomes more complex when considering power dynamics, literacy levels, and cultural contexts that can affect individuals' ability to understand what they are consenting to. Ethical frameworks for informed consent must account for these factors to protect the rights of participants. Feminist epistemology contributes to this ethical dialogue by emphasizing how gender and social positions influence knowledge production and the processes surrounding it. Feminist theorists advocate for recognizing the ways in which power relations shape epistemic practices. They propose concepts like standpoint theory, which posits that knowledge is informed by one's social position, thus challenging the assumed universality of dominant epistemological frameworks. Overall, understanding the ethical dimensions of knowledge compels us to reflect on the social justice implications of our epistemological practices. The interplay between knowledge and power is a critical consideration that influences how knowledge is constructed and who gets to participate in that process. As we advance in an increasingly complex and interconnected world, recognizing these ethical challenges will be vital for ensuring that knowledge serves to uplift rather than marginalize individuals and communities. In conclusion, the ethical dimensions of knowledge underscore the importance of examining who has the authority to produce, validate, and disseminate knowledge within society. By addressing issues such as epistemic injustice, the influence of funding on research, the implications of intellectual property, the balance between privacy and knowledge, and the necessity of informed consent, we foster a more equitable understanding of knowledge that prioritizes social justice and inclusivity. In doing so, we move toward an epistemology that acknowledges its ethical responsibilities and the intrinsic value of diverse voices and experiences. Contemporary epistemological challenges. The rapid advancements in technology and the emergence of the post-truth era have led to significant challenges in contemporary epistemology. This new landscape necessitates critical reevaluation of how knowledge is produced, validated, and understood in an increasingly complex world. Misinformation proliferation is one of the most pressing issues in the digital age. The Internet enables an unprecedented spread of false information, where misleading narratives can go viral in a matter of hours, influencing public opinion and complicating the verification of facts. This environment challenges traditional mechanisms of knowledge verification and requires us to develop new approaches to information literacy that empower individuals to discern credible sources from unreliable ones. In this context, fostering critical thinking and media literacy is essential for navigating the complexities of the information ecosystem. The emergence of algorithmic knowledge systems, particularly through the application of artificial intelligence, AI, and machine learning, introduces another layer of complexity. These systems increasingly make knowledge claims without transparent reasoning, resulting in what is often referred to as black box epistemology. In such scenarios, users cannot easily trace the origins of knowledge claims or understand the rationale behind algorithmic conclusions, which poses challenges to traditional notions of justification and accountability in knowledge production. The transparency of AI systems becomes a critical issue, raising ethical questions about the sources of knowledge and the criteria used for information dissemination. Compounding these challenges is the need for global knowledge integration. The interconnectedness of our world means that contemporary issues, such as climate change and global pandemics, require collaborative knowledge production that incorporates diverse cultural perspectives and expertise. However, this integration is fraught with difficulties, particularly the risk of epistemological relativism, where all forms of knowledge are seen as equally valid, potentially undermining the pursuit of objective truths. Conversely, epistemological imperialism refers to the tendency to prioritize Western knowledge systems at the expense of indigenous or local forms of knowledge. Striking a balance between these extremes presents a significant philosophical challenge, as it involves reconciling different epistemic frameworks while honoring their unique contributions. The digital age has also given rise to epistemic bubbles, wherein individuals are often confined to echo chambers that reinforce their existing beliefs. Algorithms employed by social media platforms can exacerbate this phenomenon, curating content that aligns with users' preferences and sentiments while filtering out dissenting voices. This situation diminishes exposure to diverse perspectives, which is vital for robust knowledge production and critical engagement with complex issues. In addition, technologies such as deepfake and manipulated media bring into question the reliability of once trusted methods of evidence, like video content. In a context where visual and auditory evidence can be easily fabricated, maintaining a standard of what constitutes credible knowledge is increasingly difficult, necessitating new frameworks for evaluating authenticity. In response to these contemporary challenges, philosophers and epistemologists are actively engaging in the development of new epistemological frameworks. These frameworks aim to address the complexities of knowledge production in the digital age, emphasizing the importance of interdisciplinary collaboration, transparency, and an understanding of the social dimensions of knowledge. By navigating these unique challenges, contemporary epistemology seeks to adapt to and reflect the complexities of human understanding in a rapidly changing world. In conclusion, the epistemological challenges of the contemporary landscape, from misinformation and algorithmic knowledge systems to the need for global integration of knowledge, call for a nuanced approach that recognizes the intricate relationships between knowledge, power, and society. Emphasizing ethical considerations, fostering media literacy, and encouraging critical engagement with diverse perspectives will be vital in addressing these contemporary challenges and ensuring that knowledge remains a tool for understanding and improving our world. As we forge ahead, the ongoing dialogue between philosophy, technology, and social justice becomes increasingly essential in shaping a more informed and equitable society. Future of epistemology. The future of epistemology is marked by both exciting opportunities and profound challenges. One of the most significant developments is the interdisciplinary integration of epistemological insights with those from cognitive science, sociology, computer science, and traditional philosophy. This fusion of disciplines is creating richer models of knowledge processes, including the ways in which knowledge is acquired, validated, and disseminated. Digital epistemology is another area that promises to revolutionize our understanding of knowledge. As we navigate increasingly complex knowledge environments, it's becoming clear that traditional epistemological frameworks are no longer sufficient. New frameworks are needed to accommodate the role of computational systems, machine learning, and distributed knowledge networks in shaping our understanding of knowledge. At the heart of these developments is the question of artificial intelligence and its potential to know things. Can AI systems truly be said to possess knowledge? How do we integrate machine learning with human knowledge? These questions pose fundamental challenges to traditional epistemological frameworks and require us to rethink what we mean by knowledge. Another critical aspect of the future of epistemology is global epistemological dialogue. As we move beyond Western-centric approaches to understand multiple valid epistemological traditions, we are forced to confront the diversity of cultural perspectives on knowledge. This involves recognizing the value of indigenous knowledge systems, traditional epistemologies, and other forms of knowledge that have been marginalized or overlooked. Finally, applied epistemology is becoming increasingly important as we seek to develop practical tools to address real-world knowledge problems. This includes issues such as education, media literacy, scientific collaboration, and public discourse. By applying epistemological insights to these problems, we can create more effective solutions that promote knowledge sharing, critical thinking, and informed decision-making. In conclusion, the future of epistemology is marked by a need for interdisciplinary integration, digital epistemology, global epistemological dialogue, and applied epistemology. These developments promise to revolutionize our understanding of knowledge and its role in shaping our world. As we navigate this complex landscape, it's essential that we continue to engage with these challenges and opportunities, seeking to create a more inclusive, nuanced, and effective understanding of knowledge. The future of epistemology will be characterized by 1. Interdisciplinary integration, combining insights from cognitive science, sociology, computer science, and traditional philosophy to develop more comprehensive theories of knowledge. 2. Digital epistemology, new frameworks for understanding knowledge in computational systems, including machine learning, distributed knowledge networks, and algorithm-human interactions. 3. Global epistemological dialogue, incorporating diverse cultural perspectives on knowledge, moving beyond Western-centric approaches to understand multiple valid epistemological traditions. 4. Applied epistemology, developing practical tools to address real-world knowledge problems in areas like education, media literacy, scientific collaboration, and public discourse. By embracing these developments and challenges, we can create a more inclusive and effective understanding of knowledge that prepares us for the complexities of the 21st century. Conclusion: the ongoing quest. The journey through epistemological thought reveals that knowledge is not merely a destination, but a continuous process of inquiry, refinement, and occasional paradigm shifts that reshape our fundamental assumptions. As thinkers from ancient Greece to modern philosophers have demonstrated, our understanding of knowledge is ever evolving, influenced by cultural contexts, scientific advancements, and philosophical reflections. Understanding as a continuous process of inquiry. The quest for knowledge is characterized by an ongoing exploration of the unknown. Each discovery can lead to new questions, prompting further investigation. Advances in cognitive science, technology, and global communication continue to redefine what we know and how we come to know it. This dynamic nature of knowledge emphasizes that the journey is just as significant as the destination, where the act of questioning itself is fundamental to our understanding. Embracing uncertainty. Acknowledging the limits of human understanding fosters intellectual humility and encourages us to remain open to new evidence and perspectives. The recognition that certainty may often elude us, whether due to the inherent complexities of the universe or the influence of social constructs, spurs a richer engagement with knowledge. This mindset not only nurtures curiosity, but also cultivates a collective responsibility to critically examine and adapt our beliefs in light of new insights. Cultivating critical thinking. To navigate increasingly complex information landscapes, it is essential to cultivate robust epistemological tools that empower discernment and wisdom. Critical thinking skills enable individuals to evaluate evidence, identify biases, and engage with diverse viewpoints. In a world where information is abundant and often misleading, these skills are crucial for making informed decisions and fostering constructive dialogues. As we reflect on the lessons from epistemology, it becomes evident that recognizing the limitations of our knowledge represents a profound form of wisdom. By maintaining rigorous standards for knowledge claims while remaining receptive to revising our understanding, we embody the best of the philosophical tradition. Our quest for knowledge continues to be an endless journey of discovery, challenge, and growth, driven by both curiosity and a commitment to understanding the world and our place within it. In summary, the future of epistemology holds exciting developments that demand our attention and engagement as we grapple with pressing contemporary challenges. By integrating insights from various disciplines, embracing uncertainty, and honing our critical thinking skills, we can navigate the rich and complex landscape of knowledge, honoring the legacy of those who came before us while boldly forging our paths toward understanding.